Iran is one of the most misunderstood countries on earth. They say Iran is extreme in ideology, in isolation, in everything. But just beyond the highways of Tehran, past the billboards and government buildings, you'll find neighborhoods and communities that rarely make it into documentaries or news coverage. These are documented facts, current statistics from 2025, and real experiences that paint a completely different picture of Iranian society. Fact 1. The Iran they don't show you. When you picture Iran, you probably imagine a backwards, isolated country stuck in the past. But you'll see high-speed metro lines that put many Western cities to shame. The Tehran metro alone covers over 200 kilometers with more than 100 stations. And in 2025, new extensions were added to connect satellite towns, reducing traffic and giving low-income families better access to the city center. You'll find cashless cafes where young Iranians are sipping lattes while working on laptops, and traffic jams filled with both locally produced sedans and foreign imports. Iran is home to one of the most self-reliant science and technology sectors in the region. Yes, rural areas still exist, and some communities do rely on donkeys for transport in mountainous terrain. Here's what makes this particularly striking. You'll also find cutting-edge research facilities and startup incubators. And Iranians are not Arabs, and they don't speak Arabic. They're Persian, with their own distinct language, culture, and identity that dates back thousands of years. Fact 2. Is Iran really aggressive? Iran has not initiated a major war in modern history. The most significant conflict involving Iran in recent decades, the Iran-Iraq War, began in 1980 when Iraq invaded Iran, not the other way around. What followed was 8 years of devastating defense, not expansion. Today, Iran's military doctrine still emphasizes no first strike. Fact 3. Religious, not radicals. Iran is often portrayed as a nation of religious extremists, but the reality is far more diverse and nuanced. The country is home to Sunni Muslims, Armenian and Assyrian Christians, Jews, Zoroastrians, and even non-religious Iranians. The public rituals of Shia Islam can feel intense to outsiders. The mourning ceremonies, the emphasis on martyrdom and sacrifice, the passionate displays of faith. But intensity is not the same as fanaticism. For many Iranians, these rituals are cultural performances deeply woven into their identity. They might attend a mourning ceremony in the morning, and then spend the evening at a cafe listening to Western music or discussing global literature. So no, Iranians are not religious extremists. They're people navigating power, expectation, and belief in their own complicated, deeply personal ways. Fact 4. Iran isn't gray. If you've seen news footage of Iran, you might imagine a colorless, oppressive society where joy and creativity have been stamped out. But you'll see cafes playing Western music, bookstores stocked with global literature, and groups of young people taking selfies beneath murals of ancient Persepolis heroes. Yes, there are restrictions. Surveillance and censorship are real, and I'm not minimizing those challenges. But young Iranians respond with humor, creativity, and innovation. When you hear this, what do you think about life in Iran? Is it really boring and oppressive? If you don't think so, comment number 1, and if you think differently, comment number 0, so I'll know how to serve you better. Fact 5. Iran is not just a desert. When people picture Iran, they often imagine endless dunes, scorching heat, and camel caravans drifting through an empty landscape. This might be one of the most persistent and completely wrong stereotypes about the country. Yes, Iran has deserts, and they're vast, dramatic, and beautiful. The Dashta Kavir and Dashta Lut are among the largest salt and sand deserts in Asia. Dashta Lut is actually one of the hottest places on Earth and is recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site for its bizarre geological formation. But Iran is one of the most geographically diverse countries in the region. The north is home to lush green forests along the Caspian Sea. The west is dominated by the snow-covered Zagros Mountain. And here's something that will blow your mind. In the north of Tehran, just a short drive from downtown traffic, you'll find ski resorts where Iranians hit the slopes each winter. Places like Dizin, Shemshak, and Tochal aren't just local ski hills. Dizin sits at over 2,600 meters above sea level and has been internationally ranked among top off-piste destinations. In a single day, you can experience snow in the north and warm summer beaches in the south. This geographical diversity means Iran has multiple climates, ecosystems, and ways of life existing within the same borders. The Caspian Sea region in northern Iran is so lush and green that visitors often think they've been transported to a completely different country. People travel there specifically to enjoy both sea and forest environments, attending local festivals and celebrations that take advantage of this unique landscape. Fact 6. Iranians are not uneducated. You might expect Iran to be a place where knowledge is blocked or access to learning is severely limited. But that assumption crumbles the moment you step onto a university campus in Tehran, Isfahan, or Mashhad. Right at the entrance, you'll see students, both men and women, walking with laptops, downloading lecture files via Bluetooth, gathering around bulletin boards filled with everything from robotics workshops to startup fairs and poetry readings. According to Iran's Ministry of Education in 2025, nearly 60% of university students are women. Let me give you some concrete numbers that might shock you. Across cities and rural towns alike, over 85% of Iranians are literate, based on updated UNESCO data from 2024. That's a rate higher than many countries in the region, and competitive with developed nations worldwide. This is where I need to pause and ask you something. How many of these facts have surprised you so far? If you're finding your assumptions challenged, let me know in the comments which misconception shocked you the most. And you'll be shocked by the information about women in Iran, along with their strange marriage customs. Don't forget to hit the bell, share with your friends, and click the subscribe button so I'll have more motivation to bring you even more fascinating information. Fact 7. Women in Iran. Now they say the dress code in Iran defines everything about women's lives, but that logic unravels the moment you walk through a crowded sidewalk in Tehran. While the hijab is required by law, and that's a real restriction that affects daily life, it hasn't erased self-expression or individuality. Some women wear the full black chador, but most don't. Instead, they wear long, stylish coats or bright tunics paired with fitted trousers, their scarves often a loose suggestion rather than a rigid covering. Look closer, and it's in the details that personality comes alive. Bold lipstick, sharp eyeliner, sculpted brows, rings on every finger, a manteau with just enough shape, colors that draw attention. But I need to be honest about the restrictions that do exist. Iranian women observe certain traditional customs, such as needing their husband's or father's permission to travel abroad. These are real limitations that affect women's autonomy and shouldn't be minimized. However, the country stands out with its approach to premarital relationships through temporary marriage, a tradition called saiga that is both intriguing and controversial. While premarital sex is forbidden in most other Islamic countries, Iran permits it under specific conditions through temporary marriage certificates. The conditions include that the woman must be a widow, divorced, or have parental consent if unmarried. The man must prove his ability to provide financial support. After a simple ceremony at a mosque, the contract becomes valid, usually lasting from 3 to 5 months, and it can be extended. Many human rights advocates support saiga as a practical solution to the emotional and sexual needs of Iran's youth. Nearly 65% of the population is under 25, and this practice helps curb illegal activities while providing a legal framework. However, it also leads to complex social issues, with thousands of children born without knowledge of their fathers, and social stigma affecting women who have participated. There's also the fascinating Qashqai tribe, a Turkic ethnic group numbering around 400,000 people. They maintain a tradition where a wife has the right to choose a new bride for her husband if she cannot bear children. The first wife carefully selects the new wife, and the husband has no right to refuse. Fact 8. Traffic and infrastructure in Iran. Picture this, you're standing on a metro platform in Tehran at 8 a.m. The train arrives on time. It's clean, air-conditioned, and full of people headed to work, school, or just another day in a city of nearly 10 million people. Across major cities like Tehran, Shiraz, Mashhad, and Isfahan, Iran has built one of the most efficient public transport systems in the region. The Tehran metro alone covers over 200 kilometers with more than 100 stations, and it's still growing. Those 2025 extensions I mentioned earlier, they're connecting satellite towns, reducing traffic congestion, and giving low-income families better access to economic opportunities in the city center. But the infrastructure story goes far beyond urban transit. Iran's national rail system spans from the Persian Gulf to the Caspian Sea, linking provinces with modern electric trains. The country boasts one of the largest railway networks in Asia, with high-speed trains connecting major cities in just a few hours. You can travel from Tehran to Isfahan, a journey that would take 5 hours by car, in just 2.5 hours by train. Despite economic pressure from international sanctions, Iran maintains one of the most affordable and accessible healthcare systems in the Middle East. We're talking about over 900 public hospitals and a strong network of community clinics that reach deep into both urban and rural areas. The part that surprises many international observers is that Iran has become a leader in organ transplant science, stem cell research, and cancer treatment protocols. Some patients from neighboring countries actually cross borders specifically to receive medical care in Iran. The combination of skilled doctors, advanced facilities, and affordable costs has created a regional medical hub that most people never hear about. Fact 9. Iranians don't hate tourists. You've seen the footage. Angry crowds, fists in the air, chants of death to America. It's jarring, and if that's all you've ever seen of Iran, it's completely understandable that you'd assume Iranians hate Westerners or anyone from outside their country. But here's the truth that every single traveler who has actually visited Iran will tell you. Most Iranians don't hate Westerners. They're angry at policies, not people. There's a crucial distinction between government rhetoric, political demonstrations, and how ordinary citizens actually treat visitors. Iran is genuinely one of the most hospitable countries on earth. Ask anyone who has actually been there, and they'll all tell you the same thing. The hardest part of traveling in Iran is politely turning down the 5th invitation for tea in one afternoon. Iranian hospitality is legendary, and it's rooted in ancient Persian culture that considers guests sacred. Strangers will invite you into their homes, share meals with you, and go out of their way to help you navigate their cities. They'll ask what you think of their country, whether you like the food, the architecture, or the poetry. And if you're open to it, they'll show you parts of their world that most cameras never capture. Iran is part of a visa-free travel zone for many countries, meaning travel between Iran and these nations is seamless without border checks. With numerous international airports, Iran offers direct flights to nearly every major city in Europe and beyond. Imam Khomeini International Airport serves as the country's main aviation hub, handling millions of passengers annually, while airports in Shiraz, Isfahan, and Mashhad provide additional global connectivity. Iranian airports often serve as entry points to the rest of Asia thanks to affordable fares and well-connected airline routes. It's actually quite safe, with low crime rates and a culture that prioritizes guest protection. The biggest safety concerns for tourists are usually traffic in major cities and the same travel precautions you'd take anywhere else in the world. Fact 10. Iran's surprising geography and daily life. As I mentioned earlier, northern Iran is lush and forested, bordered by the Caspian Sea. In a single day, you can literally experience snow in the north and warm summer beaches in the south. People travel to northern Iran specifically to enjoy both sea and forest environments. Local festivals and celebrations take place throughout the year that are designed around this unique landscape. You'll find beach resorts along the Caspian Sea that look nothing like the desert imagery most people associate with Iran. Fran's Grand Bazaar, or Basara Bozorg, is one of the oldest and largest marketplaces in the world. It's not just a tourist attraction, it's a living, breathing economic and social hub that has thrived for centuries. Located in central Tehran, the bazaar is full of narrow alleys where you can find everything from food, clothing, and jewelry to antiques and modern electronics. But more importantly, it's where locals gather, chat, and conduct business. The market becomes especially lively during holidays and religious events. The architecture alone is worth seeing, with beautiful domes and curved ceilings that create a unique atmosphere. Tehran's Friday Market. Unlike most Western countries where weekends are Saturday and Sunday, in Iran the weekend is Thursday and Friday. The Friday market is where local artists gather to sell handmade crafts directly to consumers. Products here are often cheaper because you're buying directly from the makers. You'll find everything from hand-woven carpets and traditional metalwork to contemporary art and innovative crafts that blend traditional techniques with modern designs. This geographical and cultural diversity means that Iran contains multiple ways of life within the same borders. A tech entrepreneur in Tehran, a nomadic herder in the Zagros Mountains, a fisherman along the Caspian Sea, and a desert guide in Dasht Lut are all Iranian, but their daily experiences are as different as if they lived in completely different countries. Fact 11. Culture and heritage. Let's end with something that ties everything together. Iran's incredible cultural heritage and how it influences modern life in ways that most outsiders never see. Alongside its rich culture, Iran is renowned for its magnificent natural beauty and cultural heritage, making it an unmissable destination for those who love exploration. But I want to focus on how this heritage lives and breathes in contemporary Iranian society, not just as museum pieces or tourist attractions. Persepolis, the ancient city of the Persian Empire, isn't just a historical site. It's a source of national identity that influences everything from modern architecture to political discourse. The ruins of Persepolis, with their grand stone columns and intricate reliefs, represent a civilization that thrived thousands of years ago, but they also represent continuity and pride that shapes how modern Iranians see themselves in the world. From the opulence of the Qajar dynasty reflected in the Golestan Palace to the National Museum of Iran, preserving priceless artifacts from Persian civilization, the country offers a journey through time that's actively integrated into contemporary culture. Students study this history not as ancient irrelevance, but as living heritage that informs their identity. The Milad Tower, one of the tallest towers in the world, provides a spectacular panoramic view of Tehran, but it also represents modern Iranian engineering and ambition. It's a symbol of how the country sees itself, rooted in ancient culture but reaching toward the future. Isfahan, often called Miners, half the world, demonstrates this cultural continuity perfectly. The city is famous for its stunning Islamic architecture and historic buildings, but it's also a thriving modern city where people live, work, and raise families among these architectural marvels. Naqsh Jahan Square, or Imam Square, is one of the largest public squares in the world. Surrounded by iconic structures like the Sheikh Lutfullah Mosque and Ali Kapu Palace, it's not just a tourist destination. It's where locals gather for festivals, celebrations, and daily social interaction. Ancient bridges like Kaju and Sayose Pol span the Zayanda Rud River and serve as ideal spots for families to picnic, young people to socialize, and everyone to enjoy the serene atmosphere. For nature lovers, the desert regions offer experiences that connect directly to Iran's cultural heritage. The Dashta Kavir and Dashta Lut deserts provide unique experiences with their raw and mysterious landscapes, but they're also places where traditional desert culture continues to thrive alongside modern tourism. The vast sand dunes and striking red rock canyons create breathtaking scenes, but they're also home to communities that have adapted to desert life over centuries. Their knowledge of navigation, water conservation, and desert survival represents cultural wisdom that's still relevant and actively practiced. Shiraz, the city of poetry and roses, demonstrates how literary culture remains central to Iranian identity. The city is home to the tombs of Hafez and Saadi, two of Iran's greatest poets. But more importantly, it's a place where poetry is still read, recited, and celebrated as part of daily life. The Iram Garden, with its classic Persian architecture and beautiful landscaping, isn't just a historical site. It's where families go to relax, where couples meet, and where the aesthetic principles of Persian garden design continue to influence how Iranians think about beauty and harmony. Iran is not only a land of history and heritage, but also a paradise of stunning natural scenery and captivating destinations. Every corner of this country holds a unique story and beauty, promising unforgettable experiences for anyone willing to look beyond the headlines. What we've covered today represents just the beginning of understanding Iran's complexity. These 11 facts reveal a country that defies every simple categorization, every easy assumption, and every stereotype that gets repeated in international media. From the high-tech metro systems of Tehran to the ancient poetry traditions of Shiraz, from the ski slopes of the Alborz Mountains to the innovation hubs where young entrepreneurs are building the future, Iran exists in multiple dimensions simultaneously. It's a country where 60% of university students are women, where temporary marriage coexists with traditional family structures, where religious observance blends with secular daily life, and where hospitality toward strangers remains a sacred cultural value. The Iran you've discovered today is the Iran that millions of people call home. It's a place where people navigate restrictions with creativity, where ancient culture informs modern ambitions, and where the gap between perception and reality is wider than almost anywhere else on Earth. Understanding Iran matters because it reveals how easily we can misunderstand entire nations and cultures when we rely only on political rhetoric and news coverage. It shows us that behind every international headline are millions of individual human beings living complex, nuanced lives that don't fit into simple narratives. If this video has changed how you think about Iran, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. What fact surprised you the most? What assumptions did you have that were challenged? And what questions do you still have about Iranian society and culture? Make sure you're subscribed because I'll be exploring more misunderstood countries and cultures, always focusing on the human stories and daily realities that rarely make it into mainstream coverage. There's a whole world of complexity and nuance out there waiting to be discovered, and Iran is just the beginning. Thanks for joining me on this journey of discovery. Until next time, keep questioning assumptions and seeking the stories behind the headlines. We're so glad you were here with us today. Leave a comment, like the video to support us, and hit subscribe for more. Catch you soon.